Hello, good morning. Welcome in to another episode of Good Morning NASDAQ right here on the Clover Trading YouTube channel. It is the 20th day of January, year of our Lord 2026. I had to do a double take because, yikes, we're a lot of ways through January and I've taken like one trade. But we're back and it's a Tuesday. So it's like we're back, but it's also a weird week. Huddy was out traveling the globe, I think internationally, over the weekend, and he's
Uh,
back. What?
if you consider Canada
Oh, I do.
international,
I do.
you do.
You jetted
Your
off on an international flight, right? Passports needed.
passport was needed,
Passports needed.
but it didn't
Um,
feel as international as most things.
but it is. You know,
Like
every
I didn't feel like I needed to be at the airport 2 hours early. You know?
yeah, I get you. Yeah, when I in Michigan over here, I'm only an hour away from Canada, and I actually go south to get to Canada. It's kind of funny for the area that I go to, and I do it a lot in the summers. Because my father-in-law owns a business over there, and it does not feel like when you're just taking an hour and a half drive to Canada, but you have to stop at the border. It's quite more of an inconvenience. But I get it. But it is an international trip. Okay, I'm a traveler. You know, you guys don't give me enough credit for that. I go to Canada a lot. Um, Very cultured. Great fish
uh,
over there.
I was talking to Kyle. We were like, "Damn, I wish Dom was here." And then I think I said like, "But Dom doesn't leave the country."
Yeah, that's a different Canada over there. That's a fly for me. That's a fly for you.
That was crazy. Yeah, I was in Whistler with like 15 other traders. It was a big group. It was a ton of fun. Actually, it was a great time.
A little networking.
Little networking, little joking around. Some drinks were had. We had, private chef. We were ski on, ski out mountain.
What was the best entree you had?
First night was steak night. I'm a sucker for steak night.
What cut?
I don't know. It was
Probably
already cut by the time it got out there.
fillets.
No, it was like already cut when it got out there. Like someone just like cooked it up and
Oh, so it was already in little bite-sized pieces.
yeah.
Presentation, eh?
Uh-huh.
How we doing out there, everybody? Trash Panda in here. Disclose, Mash for Fun. Sly Cosine, of course. Joe Debler. Alexander Churikov. Ex-hockey player, sounds like. Um, Good morning. Yeah, someone says couple stocks on the watch list. Yeah, that's kind of the thing we talked about last week as we were building. We had Huddy getting squeezed multiple times, which means we had stocks running 300, 400, 500%, which means at some point or another, they're probably going to funnel their way back into our lives after those big percent moves. So I think now is kind of day one of having a couple of those on watch for bounces. If they do bounce, we'll see if January is the month that brings back the reversal or not. I still have a couple stocks on watch for breakouts. We got what, like a mid cap? I don't know what IBRX is. I know it's a higher float. Making its way higher. I think we talked about it like a day or two before Huddy was gone. It kind of has turned into something more than it was back then. So that's nice to see. We'll see if anything plays out. Still looking for that first win of January for myself. I'll let you guys know if I get it today. But looks like it could be an exciting week. What's the overall market doing now? Not good. Is that right?
Yeah,
It's real?
yeah, that's real.
1.5%?
Yeah.
What happened? Something happened.
There's like some tariffs being given to, I think, the EU.
Okay. Yeah, I saw a big red candle. I said, whoa, what's that? uh, but we'll see. I'm sure that's the perfect environment for longs. Um, but again, we will just see. We're gonna take the punches this week, roll with it, and see what we get. We'll have some webinars going on this week. Excited for that, and we'll continue to be here for you guys every single day the market is open. We'll be live tomorrow for some live trading at 9:15 a.m. with Kyle. But for the time being, what do we talk about here? We talk about the biggest gappers in small cap land. I see that we do have three up over 100% right now. So that streak will continue. You weren't here on Friday, so I had to do the whole pretend I'm Huddy part of the show. When we go through a stretch like this, and I feel like we haven't done it in months, many months, where you wake up and days pass, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, where we have two gappers over 100%, a gapper over 2 or 300%. I think so far, I don't know how they worked out on Friday. I think they still ran pretty good. Um, do you kind of get to the point where you're like, this cycle can't go on forever? Longs will eventually get back, shorts will eventually stop trying, and the faders should start fading. Is that an optimistic take, or is it even that you throw all the emotions out the window, like we know Huddy is so good at, and we say we're just going to take everything in front of us?
Um, I don't know how to answer that question, but I do know how to say this. Like, what we've seen recently is an uptick in volume, an uptick in volatility, an uptick in frequency of gappers, and that all shows that we are in a different market environment than where we were for pretty much all of November and December. Um, and I think that's the main thing to focus on, not whether they're going to fade or not, because like for me in my system, like I'm still short things from Friday, and like for one peer, like JFBR, right? For one person, that's a loss. For me, that's an 80% win. So it's hard to really like kind of position or anchor where everyone is and like what's fading, what's not fading relative to where an individual takes an entry, given their like whatever their system. But I do like that there's activity and there's increased volume and there's increased volatility. Vero went to like 13 before it came back to 4. So that's all great. Like we didn't see any of that in November or December, um, which is what again I don't think it was a tough market. I just think it was incredibly slow.
Yeah, I feels you. Well, you got your
So
hands full
it's
today.
yeah, it's just no longer slow. Like now I have to put on risk every day. Like before I was literally like there's no trades. Now I have like I'm in 1, 2, 3 from Friday. There's 4 more today. There's 2 other things that you talked about briefly. Like it's active. There's things going on. I like that.
Yeah, it's my least favorite type of things going on because I feel like those are always like a distraction for me when we have big gappers because it always turns my brain into like, I don't have any trades or none of my trades are working, but here's this stock up 700% right now. And it's conflicting because I want to say nothing's going on, but it would be a lie, but it's also a truth. And somewhere between all those truths and lies is the desire to just keep trading and to keep building a watch list every night. It's nice to see some volatility, and all I'm really trying to do is keep these stocks around, keep them on watch, and see what they do. I'm looking at a couple low floats. Let's jump right into it here if we want to finish the show on time today, and head on over to our biggest gapper, which is something I feel like we've seen in the past before. IVF, which is a fertility company. 1.89 million float. And I have news 6 days ago that they're participating in some summit. Do you have any news? Because it looks like it got going on Friday at some point. After hours Friday. Interesting. What do you see here on IVF?
I forgot that was part of the thing we do.
You have to participate this part.
Okay. Let's see what the research at Ask Edgar says. Has something to do with fertility rates and Trump talking about fertility. Okay, who cares about that? So there's a catalyst. Warrants at $1.69. They're approving that on Thursday. 2.4 million shares effective on 12/29. So this is an opportunity for them. So it's like, I guess they're a fertility company gapping up because Trump mentioned that he's going to make it cheaper for Americans, making fertility treatments cheaper for Americans to boost birth rates. That's the rumor. Just some crappy little penny stock that's been trappy in the past, has some shares outstanding, but overall probably is a piece of crap.
Yeah, I just finally got to the bottom of scrolling through their dilution stuff. Didn't read too much into any one part, but usually the more there is, the more they've done, the more they can do. You know, they have a history of it at least. But we are looking at a pretty low float here, 1.89 million. They are pretty low on cash as well. I'm seeing offering ability is medium. Like I said, got going in after hours Friday. If you take a look at that, yeah, right at 4 p.m., 85 cents all the way up towards $3 in the 260s. Gapped up in the pre and kind of holding above that area where it closed in after hours 8 p.m. on Friday, but kind of in a downtrend right now, but still in the midst of a significant gap up, at times up over 300%. Has a decently strong green day on volume that wasn't really a gap, but ran over 100% and kind of closed mid-range before going lower recently. Overall, this is kind of a turd top left to bottom right. Have clearly done some splits along the way as well. We have further back we go, we see lots of high prices, which kind of tells me that we have reverse split at some point to bring that share count down, and increase the price. And right now we're in the midst of, an area where I don't think there's a ton of overhead resistance. There's a lot of range on this chart. And once we get to this point in the cycle where this is like the 12th stock in a week that I'm talking about that's up over 200%, I'm going to tell you that I don't know what it's going to do. I probably won't trade it, and that's pretty much it. I'll have it on watch towards the end of the day, see if it's something that held up or crapped. And I'm sure Huddy's answer is different. Your answer is?
For IVF,
Mm-hmm.
I hope it dies.
He hopes it dies.
That's all I hope. But it could be it could be trappy. I mean, it's got a little trappy action in the past, but it's like just one of those like long-term daily charts that like doesn't mean it's going to work or not. But I'm excited to short this. Like I think this is a horrible, horrible daily chart, and I think it deserves to die. And if it doesn't die, that's great. Like I don't really care, but I think it deserves to go back home.
That's what you want for it.
That's what I want for everyone. I want this one to go back home.
Invo Fertility IVF up 277% right now, up from sub $1 into the threes right now. We'll see what type of momentum that one brings for us this morning. Next biggest gapper we have to talk about is SHPH, which I think is another one. Did we used to say shh, something like that? Is that this one? Where the mnemonic was like shh? Maybe not.
I don't remember ever doing that noise.
There's one where I was like shh, Shuttle Pharmaceuticals, a 920K float I have on my scanner. It was over $1 million, so pick your poison if you have like $1 million share float requirement. Shuttle Pharmaceuticals, drug manufacturer, specialty and generic. Another one that's kind of high across the board in terms of overall risk. Very low float. They don't have any cash as well. I also don't see news that's current. Do you have news from today or the weekend?
Stock promotion, which is what it ran on last time. And they have some debt coming due soon, so they're gonna have to raise on that. I don't know if it's gonna happen today, but they can do it.
Okay. Up 150% right now. Pretty low float. Under $1 million that I'm seeing. Closed in the 160s on Friday, as high as $5 this morning. So another one that was up. Maybe not. Oh, yeah. Higher lows consolidating up near the highs right now. Obviously, a ton of range here in the pre-market. Doesn't necessarily meet my eye as like a 920K float here in pre-market. Looks quite controlled and clean. Not a ton of crazy moves so far. Volume is quite good already at 63 million. Further back on this chart I go. Obviously top left to bottom right, but not really noticing any huge volume days that we're seeing like today. There's a bunch of volume days on consolidation days, it looks like, or little dump days. Maybe a little bit of resistance in the 4 or 5 area, but we're talking about 2 million volume versus 60 we've already done. There's kind of a gap and crap day on like 7 million that topped out near 11 and faded all the way back. So maybe a little bit of precedent on those 2 volume days where the stock really wasn't able to spike after the open. But another one that I'm guessing has done some reverse splits recently. Just going back a year, the price is up in the 20s. Maybe it was that high. Maybe it wasn't. I'd have to look into it to know. But another one that maybe you could say there's some room to run, but we're opening up, well, in 20 minutes, potentially up 150% already, which is already a pretty big move in pre-market. What say you, Huddy?
SHPH.
Shh, psh.
I don't like that. I don't like hearing that come out of my phone. Um, yeah, I mean, I think this one will fade. I'm not gonna trade it. I think the float's a little bit scary on these for my liking. And it's not that low floats don't fade. So that's why like my gut says that these are like so far the two we went over are pretty trashy. Um, it's just that like over the long run with like slippage and locate fees on like sub 1 mil floats, generally like that's kind of just not worth my time. So some of these fade really well, some of them spike really well, some of them get a little wonky. I don't really care for it long or short. I think there's better stories out there.
Yeah, I think that's just my least favorite time to trade a 1 mil or a over under 1 mil float is like at 9:30 on day one. You don't really know how it's going to behave. You don't quite know the situation in terms of if anyone's getting squeezed, how much momentum is there. It's a guessing game, I feel like, for the most part, and I don't like to play those games with no edge. That seems to be an unprofitable situation for me when I attempt to do so. So the best thing I can do is kind of wait, let it trade out. Let's see what type of stock this is, what it wants to be, and I probably won't know that in the next 20 minutes. So potentially some room to run here. Both stocks right around a million float that we've talked about so far, up a lot already going into the open. Is this going to be a week in which the momentum continues and shorts are getting squeezed by being over aggressive on day one, or do we start to see some return to the norm and the majority of these start to fade? Maybe some pushes out of the open and then some weakness throughout the rest of the day. Only time will tell. That's the fun part about doing this before the open is everything's up for grabs. Anything could potentially happen here. TWG is your next biggest gapper of the day. Top Wealth Group. Is this a Chinese play? It is one that we've seen recently and has spiked many times in the past. Let's take a look at this. Huddy, just so you know, we're on TWG. Food distribution company out of Hong Kong. 1.24 million float. They're incorporated in the Cayman Islands, and this fits the bill. They have 286 months of cash left. Is there anything besides Hong Kong here that makes you say Sketch, Univest, AC Sunshine?
I mean, it's just a Chinese scam. I don't know if it's like a liquidation play necessarily. Oh yeah, it is for sure. Look at the chart. Yeah, just a sketchy Chinese company that had a run when we had some Chinese craze back in December, and then they offered and dogged everyone, as they do, and now it's gapping up for some reason.
Yeah, 2 hours ago they announced entry into a material definitive agreement for the acquisition of wine authentication and tracking system and wine trading business. I'm sure if I zoom or scroll down, I'll see lots of stuff about wine. But yeah, kind of fits the bill. Low float, lots of cash, kind of hidden, looking like a strong company. And if you pull up the daily chart and you just go back far enough, you'll kind of see what Huddy was able to see in like a millisecond, which is death. Spike, pump, multiple days of spikeage and run. And then in like a day, we lose probably close to 95% of our entire value. And then we do a whole lot of nothing. We trade near the lows. We have some days on higher volume. But there really hasn't been anything substantial besides that one day that Huddy brought up about a month ago, a little over a month ago, where we spiked from the 6s all the way to the 20s. I don't remember the intraday price action or if that had to have happened in after hours, but we go from 26 and we open at $6. So again, depending on how they go about their liquidation or if there was a goal to liquidate or whatever it is, the end result is very similar. Stock go up for a period of time and stock come crashing down, elevator down. And right now we're kind of having our first attempt at a bounce since that time. A move from the $4 area up to as high as the 11s in pre-market, kind of settling in right around up 100% right now. Do you have any rules for your system when it comes to previous China liquidation? Sorry, I tried to get that out, but I had a sneeze on the tip of my nose.
No, it's a personal one. Like this is a 1.2 mil float from China. Like I think if someone had a rule that said I don't short those, like I don't blame them, type of thing. You know, I think there's a lot of rules. If someone would tell me their rules, and I'd be like, I don't agree at all, and I would never like prescribe to that idea. That's a rule. Like if someone told me like I don't short low float Chinese plays, I'd be like, you sound like a smart trader.
You like that one? What
Yeah,
is
I mean,
what are you gonna do?
I'm probably gonna short it,
All
but
right.
I like the rule.
Do as
Nice
I
rule
do,
of
not
theory.
do as I say, not as I do.
No, probably do as I say, not as I do. I'm the opposite of Kyle. Like
Uh,
actually do as I say.
yeah. Yeah, consolidating, going sideways here in the pre-market. Still got 14 minutes to go. Could open up in a perk into the 8, 9, 10 area. Could fade off and kind of break the lows of pre-market here soon. Not one that I want to mess with. You could say there's a lot of range here, but there is a decent amount of volume traded on that day one from a month ago. Could be some bag holders, some resistance. Anyone who held from that day from any price was gapped down on the next day. So probably could be some bag holders from aggressive day one longs. And maybe they get worked out today. Maybe the stock trades 150, 250 million volume and goes to the moon. Not something I'm in the business of predicting. But we're kind of looking at this morning 3 decent gaps, 100 to 250%, all right around a million float. Some less sketchy than others. 2 that need cash. 1 that is a liquidation play. The stage is set for a Tuesday morning, Huddy, huh?
I love it.
You got your jersey on. You ready to play?
I'm ready to play. I'm already in play. I'm in
Yeah.
game.
You're in game.
We're making ours.
Maybe.
I mean, I am roller.
Yeah, but we're talking about these ones. We haven't played yet.
Yeah,
The game hasn't played yet.
The game started playing when roller ran 800%. I don't know about you, but that's when the game started.
It has nothing to do with TWG today. New game.
New day, same game.
Nope, same playoff structure, but it's the next battle. Did
All
you
right, we
lose
can-
on
we-
roller on the first day?
Yeah, but we got it back.
But they won the first bout.
They won the first bout. I won the second, and there's gonna be a third one probably like 2 months later, and we'll see who wins that one.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, it's a sad Tuesday morning because football's over. We had to wait another 7 or 8 months.
Did you like the game last night?
It was actually one of the better national championships we've had in recent history. I freaking hate Indiana, but
But that Mendoza guy's pretty good.
yeah, their average age of their team is older than the average NFL team's age.
That's not good.
They're
How old's Mendoza?
mature, probably 23 or 24 or 25. He's in his fourth
When's
or
last
fifth
time
year.
Indiana won a championship? Can we give it to them? I feel like that's
Never.
their first. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't get to just freaking go from being the worst team to the best team in 2 years. I'm over here struggling for 15 years. We get there, but we never win one. It's depressing. It's more painful, I think. Dom, do you trade first green days discretionarily like you used to, or only reversals based on Gratanis criteria? Over the past few years, it's been primarily more systematic in terms of when I enter and why, and what qualifies as one. I trade very few first green days. I don't fit that unless they're very, very clean frontside moves and very, very clean backside moves. That pattern is going to go through the ringer for me over the next few weeks. I'm going to figure out what I want to do with it and maybe be more on the discretionary side of that, say no to a few more, and enter maybe in a couple different ways. We'll see if it turns around and the reversals start working the way in a profitable manner. But lately, the past few years, it's been more systematic in terms of what I trade and why. Are we watching ATON for a multi-day breakout? Never heard of the stock. I wouldn't say watching. It had a gap and crap day on day one on big volume, but
I wouldn't say multi-day breakout.
I mean, it could be one if it magically morphs 400% or 300% quickly. But right now, it looks more to be on the first green day side than it does a breakout after a pretty big move up. multiple red days, sideways at the lows, and now it's trying to bounce. So I think you got to maybe study your patterns. This is more of like a backside bounce than it would be something that is strong.
You're so nice.
I'm way too nice, but that's what you
You're
gotta
way
do.
too nice. You can't actually look at that chart and ask us if it's a breakout. Like if the answer is what Dom said, like you need to study, like massively.
You know
Like
what?
if you
I'm
think
not a very cocky trader, and so every time I say something like for sure, the next
people do beat up on you, I get it.
then the next day that stock's breaking out over those highs, and then I'm the one that looks like a moron. But in general, no, I'm not looking for that as a breakout. Someone mentioning markets down. Someone bringing up H graph. We got to get out of here, but not really watching it. The stock has been really hard to trade ever since like the break. Whenever we were trading it back here, this whole move was a dumpster fire. I remember this was right into deer camp, yeah, and never really broke out and ran. It's up there. I don't know what's it's like water or energy or something, but it's there, I guess. I wouldn't be surprised to see this go on a multi-day move. I just probably would have to adjust the way I trade it, because buying the breakout level and looking for the next day to sell did not work the last few times I traded it. All right, everybody. We got to get it out of here. It's 9:21. Heidi, do you have any big words of wisdom going into this week? I think we have this week and next week for January, and then we're kind of fully engulfed in the year.
I got you next week.
Next week.
Yeah.
You are the opposite of me. I'm the kind of guy who bites off more than you can chew. Yeah, I'll do that, and that, and then I don't want to do any of it. You're like, let's try one full week, one calendar week.
Yeah. Let's give it some time.
All right, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow morning, 9:15 a.m. for another episode of Good Morning NASDAQ. If you want to come hang out with us, you can over at clovertrading.io. I didn't ask you to, but hit that thumbs up button on the way out, and we'll see you tomorrow.